Okay, and we are live. So we're going to start with assembling our cookie pops. So I'm using the Halloween Oreos here. And I'm also going to try, I haven't used straws before, but these are too fun to, not experiment with. So we're going to see how these work for cookie pop sticks. But I think I want to cut them in half because obviously they're too long the regular way. And to do this, we're going to melt down some, don't do chocolate. Yeah, butter. Okay, so we're melting down some dark chocolate melting wafers. Hi! Okay, we're gonna pop these in the microwave and heat them for about 30 seconds to start. As I always say, I like to do short increments. Okay, let's get some of our Oreos out. I like to make sure that they're not cracked or broken, really. I mean, we can work with them if they are, but obviously they're a little bit more challenging. I think these ones look pretty good. Okay, take out 6 for them. And we're gonna check on our stuff. Hello! Okay, just barely starting to melt, so I'm gonna do another 30 seconds on this. And in the meantime, I'm gonna take my straws and I'm gonna cut some of them in half. So, like I said, I haven't. How are you doing? How are you today? Thank you for asking. I'm doing pretty good. I'm very excited because it finally feels like fall here this week. So I love, when the weather gets chilly and you get to bundle up under a plushy blanket, especially because my dog loves to cuddle a lot more this time of year. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good overall. How are you guys doing? Okay, sure. Eyeball half-ish. There we go. Okay, let's check on our melts here. Okay, trying to stir that through. It's hot here still. Oh, you're in Florida. It seems like it's always hot there. That's good that you're doing good. Thanks for joining the live. Okay, still a couple little pieces here that are being a tad bit stubborn. So we're gonna pop this in there for another 15 or 20 seconds. I'm going with 15 just to be on the safe side. And I have a tray here that has just a piece of parchment paper on it. So we can set our cookies on there. Okay. All right, that looks beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna take our stick. I'm actually gonna take this side. There's no fraying, so I'm not worried about any little fibers getting in there. But I kind of squished it down, which is actually a good little size to put into the cookie. At least I hope so. Like I said, I'm totally experimenting with this right now with doing the straws. So we're just dipping a little bit in there. And then we're going to take one of our cookies and we're going to kind of slide it right on in there. But what's good about the straws, you can kind of like squish them a little bit. So it can kind of fit a little bit better. Just don't want to break the cookie. Oh, like I did there. Okay, I think that this might not work the way I thought it was going to. Okay, it's been a little while since I've had Halloween Oreos, so I thought they were closer to like a double stuffed thickness, but they're not that thick. So let's grab my treat sticks here. Back up, we're doing regular sticks. Okay. So same idea, just dip the treat stick a little bit in the chocolate. We don't need very much. And we're going to stick it right on in there. Kind of wiggle it through. We don't want to go all the way through, but want to make sure it's nice and like definitely in there to make sure it'll actually stay. This one is not lined up as nicely as I want it to be. Okay, that looks a little bit better. And sometimes you can actually take like another treat stick and then kind of remove that excess chocolate so there's not that little like bump of chocolate right there. We're going to put that on our tray. Add the filling from another cookie. Ooh, yes. I like it. I like it. I think I am going to make one of these into a double stuff because I love that idea. Oh, see, I went a little bit too far, so we're just going to like push the filling back in there because this is going to be completely covered anyway. And once again, if you want to remove that excess chocolate, I've seen people do that also with cake pops as well. Just like that. And I actually just felt a little crack along the back here, but we can still work with that. Okay. And we're going to try and see. I think I need a butter knife or something to help separate this. Okay, I'm going to stick this on here. And then we're going to dip our little straw here, just the top part, and then we're going to go in. Oh, that was a perfect idea. Thank you for suggesting that. Go check out my friend, A Frosted Life is her channel name, who had this fabulous suggestion. I've actually never made my own double stuffed Oreos. So cool. Okay. We're going to stick that there. I'm going to do a few more Oreos just so we have plenty. Oh, I see. Hello, I'm doing well. I hope you're also doing well. Okay. A few more Oreos here. Okay, a couple more of the plain ones. I'll make another double stuffed one too. Oh. Can clean that up a little bit. Okay, and one more double stuffed. Oh, that cookie just fell apart. Luckily, we don't need it. I can use that for something later. Okay, taking one of our straws here. And we're going to oh, there's a crack on this cookie. Woo! Since there's a crack, I'm going to add a little bit of chocolate now to kind of help make sure that stays together. And there we go. I'm going to stick these, they're pretty much almost set, but I'm going to stick them in the fridge anyway just because I want to make sure that they are, the chocolate's fully, you know, like hardened, and it'll make sure it doesn't fall apart when I go to dip them. So while we're waiting for that, we can start to get some of our stuff ready to go. I'm gonna set my treat sticks to the side. And our little broken one can just go over here with our little cookie scrap pile. Okay. Now wipe down this a little bit just to clean up a bit. Okay, and we're gonna cut some parchment paper squares because I like to do that so that when I dip them, I have a spot to put them, but I can still easily move it around. Whereas if I have, you know, just the tray with all of the cookies on it, then I won't be able to move it. So it's not as convenient. Hello. Yes, the mummy cupcake. I'm hoping to make some cupcakes either today or tomorrow. Depends on how crazy today goes. So I'm hoping by maybe like Monday at the latest, we'll have a mummy cookie or mummy cupcake. Today, wait, my birthday's tomorrow. Happy early birthday. Okay, we're gonna probably need to remelt this down a little bit, but I also want to grab one of my molds here. I want to start making a few of our decorations. So I have this fun skeleton hand, which is technically for fondant, but I don't use fondant pretty much almost ever. So I always like to experiment with the candy melts, with the chocolate candy melts. So we're gonna try to make a skeleton hand here. And this is very fine details. I've had the skeleton hands break a few times on me because it's so delicate. But I still like to push the bounds because I prefer using candy melts and chocolate over fondant. So we're gonna make it work. So we're just like kind of trying to open it up a little bit to get in all those little grooves. And also tapping it to get rid of all of those air bubbles. You can actually see a couple of them pop up there. Okay. Try to get that to settle down in there, and then we're going to take an offset spatula and carefully scrape. Okay. Hopefully it did what we wanted it to do. Yeah, see, these are super duper thin, so it's very, very easy to accidentally remove too much of the chocolate. Trying to get some of that excess stuff away here without removing too much of it. Okay, it's starting to set already because it's so thin. So I'm gonna put this into the freezer and hope that works out. Okay, so let's also grab another bowl. Oh, I have it right here. You have your first homecoming tonight. Oh, that's exciting. Feels like it was so long ago for me. Okay. What was I gonna do? I'm gonna add some of the white vanilla melting wafers into our bowl here. Okay, I'm also gonna take the spoon out because this is gonna start to set really fast and I don't wanna have to pry this out because sometimes that's kind of challenging. Okay, so popping this in there for about 30 seconds or so. Okay. In the meantime, let's see, grab another mold here. I think I'm gonna do this one and maybe this one. Looks good. Thank you so much. Okay, grabbing multiple molds here. I haven't used these like as much as I really wanted to this year, so we're going crazy with them today. Okay, I have the skull molds that we're going to use. We're also, I think, going to put together a little ghosty here. I think I also want to do maybe a little bow. I'm thinking for this skull. Maybe that one, or maybe that bow. And then also, I think I want to do one of these like frames. I'm thinking this one possibly, but I want to put a little ghost inside of it. So I'm kind of thinking that one could fit one of these little guys, or one of these little guys down here. But we'll cover the whole thing with white. So we're gonna do white on this one, white on this one. And then I think I want to stick to chocolate on this and this. So we're gonna have to remelt this a little bit because it is starting to set up on the sides. So while we check our white melts here, we're going to pop this in there for, it doesn't need that long, 15 to 20 seconds like usual. And we're gonna give this a little stir. It's definitely nowhere near the amount of melting it needs to start. Yeah, barely starting to melt, so we're gonna pop that back in there. Nice, thank you so much. Doing another 30 seconds on the white melts, and we have our chocolate melts now. Your nails are so cute, such a great color. I just put on fake nails today for homecoming. Thank you so much. I have fun experimenting with color combinations, especially when it comes to glitter combinations. But that's so exciting that you have your first homecoming. You did your nails. I hope you have an awesome time tonight. Okay, this feels pretty good. So we're going to just go straight into our mold here. And we're gonna hold off on that because sometimes these set very quickly, as we saw it with the skeleton hands. And I'm also cleaning off my offset spatula because I forgot to do that, which is kind of a pain in the butt when the chocolate sets. Come on. Okay. Yeah, it's mostly cleaned off. Okay. We're just gonna do our usual little, this mold is a little bit weird. Okay, tap, tap, tap. Come on. Let's try to make sure it gets in all those little grooves there. I can feel a little bit. I need to set this down to do this. And beautiful. And let's do this one really quick before we go check on our white melts again, which probably need a little bit more melting. A piece of chocolate. Okay, so this one I definitely want to kind of tap a few times, open it up a little bit to try and get all the little grooves filled. These are pretty kind of sensitive, obviously, because they're very delicate when you take them out. But luckily the mold, the sides of it are pretty easy to work with. It's just, if you get a little bit too forceful with it, it's very easy to break. So anyone doing anything fun for Halloween type activities this weekend? Can't even believe it's Halloween next week. How did it come this fast? It's also like my favorite time, and arguably every year it kind of feels like it's a little bit more of my favorite holiday, so I get a little bit sad when it's like it comes so fast and I can't make all of the Halloween stuff that I want to make because I have too many ideas. Okay. Now that we have those two done, giving this another stir. Okay, still a few little pieces, so another 15 seconds should finish this off. In the meantime, I'm going to take my molds here and we're going to pop these in the freezer just to make sure they're a little bit easier to take out. I'm also grabbing out my cookie pops because I want to dip those soon. Some of them are going to decorate right away. Some of them need to set first, but because the cookies are cold, they should set pretty quickly. And I like to do a first, like, coating, if you will, kind of like a cookie pop equivalent of when you're cake decorating and do like a crumb coat. I like to do that because sometimes the melts are very thin. It'll still show the cookie, so I like to do a double dip. And the first layer helps hold in all those little crummies. Okay, so to finish off our little decorations here, we're gonna stick this in one of our skull molds. And we're just gonna completely fill this one. Sometimes I wanna I try to fill them with stuff like caramel or something, but we're just gonna keep it simple today. And of course, giving that a tap, release any of those air bubbles. because we don't want to see those. We want to see the lovely design. Can't wait for Christmas. This year went so fast. It did go super fast. It felt like, I don't know, usually like the beginning of the year drags on, but it just felt like the entire year was just flying right by. I'm going to clean off my offset spatula here. Is like on there today. There we go. Okay, a little bit of hot water helps melt it a little bit there. Awesome. Okay. I can just clean up the sides a tiny bit. We can also break that off afterward, but sometimes I like to clean it up before. So we're gonna stick that in the freezer, and we're gonna do our little ghosties here. I'm gonna do, I think, focus on these ones in the middle because they're a little bit smaller to fit that frame. And of course, tapping. Making sure they all get filled. Okay, that should be good. We're going to do a nice little swipe here. Okay. Looks pretty good. We can take off any other little excess stuff after it freezes. So we're gonna pop these in the freezer as well. Okie dokie. Set that to the side. Okay. So we are going to check our chocolate here. Some of it's starting to set up. So we're gonna pop this in the microwave again, another, 15, 20 seconds. We don't want to overheat it. And then we're gonna do our first dip on our Cookie Pops. Okie dokie. Perfect. Okay, and let's cut the parchment paper squares really fast, like I mentioned. Just kind of doing a rough cut. They don't need to be perfect by any means. And like I mentioned, this is for when we dip them, both in the first coating and then the final coating. I like to be able to move them around sometimes, and if I stick it on just one, big piece of parchment paper, sometimes I want to move them around to fit a few more on the tray if they can, and or if I just want to move them off of the tray, but I can't until it sets. So this is my way of getting around that. That'll work too. Okay. So we're going to dip them in the melt here. just want to make sure it fully gets coated. And then I like to lay it flat and then do a little tap. And then I like to scrape off the excess so it doesn't have any pooling around it. Just like that. And we can take a cake tester or toothpick or something like that and poke any little bubbles that form. This isn't our final layer. Actually, that coats pretty nicely for sometimes with some of the Ghirardelli melts or some other kinds of melts. Sometimes you see the cookie through it, but this one actually covers really nicely. So I actually kind of want to decorate this one immediately. And I have these fun sprinkles that I used actually last night for the drink video. So we're just going to do a nice little sprinkle. So this is one way of doing your sprinkles, is just right after you dip them. Get a couple more green in there, and also I have an eyeball. That's just kind of a fun little random sprinkle. That's super easy. This is literally the easiest kind of cookie pop you can make, is just dip and sprinkle. So there's our first one. I'm gonna stick it back on this tray so when it goes in the fridge it can set. And then we're gonna cover the rest of these, but I'm not going to do just sprinkles for the rest of them. Because for some of them, I think I want to do the white dip as well so they kind of stand out a little bit. So same thing, we're just dipping, making sure it gets completely covered. And you can also clean up the stick. It never really bothers me that much. Only once in a while, though I clean that up, but you can definitely clean that up so there's no chocolate on it. Okay, then we're gonna whip the rest of these out really quick. Okay, and you can see a teensy bit of pooling right there, but like I said, we're gonna cover these. We could certainly do our crumb coat, if you will, with the white melts. But I like the flavor, obviously, of the dark chocolate melts a little bit better, so that's why I'm doing these today. But sometimes if we're going with just white, then that's when we want to make sure that we probably do like a white base, but I'm gonna try it out because I want to see how thick these melts are, because I'm still kind of, experimenting and playing around with these melts a little bit to see how well they cover and all that kind of stuff. Because these are the ones from Sam's Club. They used to have the Ghirardelli ones, but then they started doing their brands. So I'm still kind of testing to see how well they work. Parchment. And now we're going to dip our double stuffed. Carefully stick that on my tray. It moved a little bit, but that's okay. And here's our last one. We're going to stick it in the fridge. And meanwhile, we can pop out all of our decorations from those molds that we stuck in the freezer a few minutes ago. And do a little scrape. There we go. Okay. So we have all of them on the tray. You can see a couple of them just barely starting to set in spots, but we want to make sure they're fully solid. So I'm going to pop this into the refrigerator. Okay, and then we're getting all of our molds out of the freezer. So I want to try the skeleton hand first straight from the freezer because this is the most delicate. So we want to make sure it's nice and cool. And what we want to do is kind of gently separate the sides from the chocolate. Has less chance breaking that way. We don't want to press on the bottom because that's going to easily snap these delicate little skeleton fingers. Okay, so my whole bottom is released here, but we want to try to press. Oh, I think I might have just snapped a pinky. Trying to gently separate by pressing next to it. Okay, so this is the most, kind of annoying one just to make sure that it doesn't snap. But then again, I am using it with chocolate, and like I said, I think it's usually used with like fondant or maybe gum paste or something like that. Okay, this is our test. Let's see if this will actually work. You were brave putting chocolate in the hand mold. Yes, I have made it work before with the candy melt, so let's hope that today is another one of those days. The thumb is separating, but I can easily connect that back onto our hand. Ah, fingers are snapping. I can hear it slowly separating while I do this. Okay, 2 fingers made it. A few of them did not. But like I said, we can still make this work. Okay, let me get my tweezers here. I don't want these to melt in my hands. Okay. We're operating on our little skeleton hand here. Just dip a little bit in the chocolate. And then we're going to reattach right there. And that's our thumb. This is our finger. But there's a little bit of excess on it. I have made it work before. It was like once where it came out perfectly without needing any repairs. So today was not one of those days, but it's still gonna work. Same thing we did with the other one. Just a little dip. And reconnect. Luckily, because it's a skeleton hand, I mean, you can't really tell it got messed up in the first place. think there was a little piece missing off of this one. But it's still gonna look okay. Can kind of like smooth it down a little bit. Can even add a teensy bit of chocolate to fill that little cavity there. And then we're just gonna leave it alone for a second. But because it is still pretty cold, it should set fairly quickly. But we want to pop the rest of our stuff out. So this one, really quick and easy because it's nice and thick. Separating the sides from the molds and then just popping out our skull. And let's do our bow next. This mold is super easy to get stuff out of. It's smooth like butter. And it looks really great too. Okay, this one is the one that I'm slightly more nervous about because, like I said, it can be a bit delicate. And then we just want to try to carefully separate the sides on the inside because that's where I've accidentally broken some of these frames before. Okay, let's try it. Carefully, carefully, carefully. Yes. Awesome possum. Okay. We have all but our one that is left. Let's get these out of here. Okay, so we're gonna pop out our little ghosties. And like I said, I don't know which one I want to use just yet. Oh, this little guy broke. Okay, so it's you. And then this one. That's weird. Those ones don't usually break so easily. And I can kind of just, like the heat from your hand is pretty easy to remove the little excess bits right there. The little hand got messed up, but that's okay because I think the frame, if I do want to use that one, I'm probably gonna need to get rid of his little arms there to make them fit. Okay, and then these melts I can just chuck back in there and remelt those for more projects in the future. This little moon turned out pretty good though. I'm gonna set that to the side. Same thing with the little star. And I love this mold because of the little bats too. Okay. So we are done with our molds and we want to, I think before I grab the cookies out, we want to grab one of our food brushes. And I want to do some gold, but I also think I'm going to do some rose gold. Okay, I'm going to do gold for, those are so cute. Thank you. I love the molds, they're so adorable. So do a little bit of gold dust on top of our skeleton hand. I had this vision in my head and I just thought it would look really cool. Making sure everything gets coated, but being delicate at the same time. I also want to do a gold frame right here. To make it look kind of cool and antique-y. What I love is that the gold dust goes a really long way just for a little bit on this chocolate. Beautiful. And then we're going to wipe that off just a little tiny bit, not too much. So that it's pretty much all the gold is gone. And we're going to do rose gold on our bow. kind of tapping off a lot of that excess because again, it goes a long way. And we're just going to brush onto our bow here. Brush off any of the excess so it's not just sitting on top there. And there is our little rose gold bow. Okay, so I want to move these to the side while we're doing our stuff. So I'm just going to stick them up here in the corner. They're going to be safe over there. For these ones, I don't want to touch the sides too much. That one had some excess, but carefully moving them over so they don't break. This one, I need to just gently, darn you finger. Oop. The chocolate is set. So let's remelt that and fix that finger really quick before we move on. So close with the finger. Okay, but I'm gonna move this up here so I can start to work on the cookies over here in a sec. Just gonna clear away some of our stuff. Doesn't have to be perfect, but so that it's a little bit, you know, not as messy. Okay. It needs a little bit more melting because I might cover a couple of cookies in this, but it didn't seem like too many crumbs got in there, which is really great. Pretty cool. I'm going to, once again, just lightly dip this in the chocolate and match it up. Very gently. I'll let that set. I'll cover the little teeny bit in gold. Because again, the cool thing with the skeleton hand is that they are not perfect, so we don't have to worry about, you know, the little repairs of that. Now we're grabbing our cookie pops, which are nice and solid. Okay. So I want to cover a couple of these with white, a couple of them with the chocolate. So let's try white. I'm very curious to see. It's a little bit thick, so I'm gonna pop it in the microwave. But I'm very curious, like I said, to see how well it covers the chocolate or if you can still see the chocolate through it. And then we're gonna need to add a few more melts to this and then remelt. Some of them do cover pretty nicely though, so I might not need this. Some of them are a little bit bumpy though, so I'll just do that for funsies. Give that a little mix, and then we're gonna pop it back in there. Okay, let's give this a little mix. See a little piece in there, and also I can feel that it's still a tiny bit on the thick side, so I want it just a little bit thinner than this. So I'm gonna wait a few more seconds and pop this back in there. Okay, then we are also grabbing our chocolate bowl here. Giving that a quick little stir so we can pop it back in there. Okay, so our white melt should be done. And then we can dip a few of these. I'm gonna start with our plain non-double stuffed one. And give it a little tap. Ooh, that coats nicely. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with how well these coat the candy melts. Oop, but it's melting a little bit of the chocolate on the back. Let's do a couple more of those. I think I want to do, yeah, I'll do half and half. Make half of them with a white base. But like I said, the chocolate is starting to do like a little marbly thing in there, but that's also a beautiful thing about Halloween stuff is that it doesn't need to be perfect. I want to go in and pop these little bubbles here. I have to try and kind of fill them in a little bit. You can also pop the bubbles and then continue to tap it on the side, but that's before we obviously set it down on here. Okay. And let's do one of the double stuffed ones. I think I want to do this one. I'm going to try and kind of roll it on the counter a little bit so that it'll get rid of some of that excess melts. Okay. There's a little piece right there I want to get off. Come on. Okay. We're done with our white melts. I'm going to do the other ones with just the regular chocolates. This is to give it a slightly smoother top here. See, there's a little air bubble. And then can do another little tap to help that kind of get back in the rest of the candy melts. And we're gonna repeat with these really quick. I wanna give this a little stir first. Okay, and one more with our double stuffed here. Once again, kind of rolling some of this excess off of it. This one didn't have too much though, so. Those look like they taste amazing. Why, thank you. That's what I love about Cookie Pops, is that they look really great, but they're super easy to make at the same time. Okay, dipping. And like I said, these actually coat really nicely, so you don't have to do the second coat. But I wanted to make the top as smooth as possible because there was a little bit of bumps from the pattern below. Okay. So there we go. And we're going to do, so let's see. I'm gonna figure out this little guy. I think I want this one in the frame. He fills it nicely, but I need my paring knife. Because we're going to trim him down a little bit. I want him to be a little more in the center here. So let's okay, let's see if he fits now. Almost, but not quite. And I want to round out down here a little bit to kind of go with the frame. I mean, he is a ghost, but he looks like he literally was chopped off with part of his body, so. There we go. Okay, let's see if he fits now. Almost, just this little arm here. Yay, he fits. Okay. So we're gonna add this onto one of our chocolate ones. We want him to pop a little bit more. And we kind of get lost on our little white background here. So let's take this one. And we're going to grab our kitchen torch here, because we can pop these on right after. They get dipped, of course, but if you can't get them on there right away, or the cookies were cold, so the melts set very quickly, what we can do is take our kitchen torch and just very lightly melt the top so that we don't have to add candy melts to the back of our little candy melt decorations. We can simply just melt the top a little bit and stick it on. So very carefully. Come on. There we go. Just a little bit. I can see it started to get a little bit glossy there, and we want to immediately put these on there. So let's grab our frame. Oh, it's already starting to set very quickly. We want to keep it moving. We don't want to hold this over too much, or else it will start to burn the candy melts. So there's that. And then we're going to very carefully stick our little ghosty in here. Just like that. Of course, you can shape him a little bit more, a little closer to the actual shape of the frame. Got a little piece of candy melt right there. Okay, and there's our little ghosty cookie pop. Let's let that set. And we're going to do on, I think I'm gonna do on the double stuffed, our little ghost, or our little skeleton head here. Okay, let's try. I want to do same thing, lightly melting the top here. We can see it goes from kind of like a matte to a lightly glossy kind of look. And we're just gonna stick our skull right here on top, in the middle. And then I want to do a little dab of candy melts. I don't think I want to risk. I'm gonna try and add this bow. I like it kind of like on the side, I think. Okay, so let's grab. Too thick. You. Okay, so we just need like a small food brush, and we're gonna take a little bit of our white candy melts. White because the skeleton head is white. And we're going to just go like this. And then we're going to carefully attach our bow. We can kind of angle it a little bit. Just want to make sure it's touching those candy melts. We can get rid of the little bit of powder that we're seeing. Come on, bow. It's a little bit hard to get it at an angle. I think we're going to try. Let's get rid of that. Okay. I think I'm gonna try the same thing, just barely lightly melting the skull, just a touch. And especially with the white melt, you can easily see those burn, so you have to be very, very careful. So let's, because I want you to be able to see it. Just kind of gently holding it. Ah, so close. Okay, hold on. So close to making that work. Just try to brush off this little bit of stuff here. And gently scrape away those little imperfections. And we're going to, actually first I'm gonna grab something really quick. I will be right back. I need a piece of candy. I bought this big old bag of Sixlets recently, and I think I want to make it look like, I've seen people do this before and it just looks really cute, but I've never tried it. So we're gonna grab one of our pink Sixlets here. It's pretty nice and round. We're gonna make it look like the skeleton's chewing some bubble gum. So I'm gonna add that on first because the bow is made of chocolate. With the heat, it's going to definitely be easier to melt when I'm trying to add this on. So we're gonna add this on first, and then we're gonna add our bow. And hopefully the bow decides to stick this time, but we shall see. I think with this one, I wanna add a little bit of our candy melts right in the front of the mouth. Not too much. We don't wanna try want to avoid seeing it. And then we're just going to carefully hold that in place for a sec. I want it to be pretty, yeah, pretty head on right there. Just while the candy melts set. Oh, so cute, love it. Thank you, thank you. Okay, still waiting for a sec. If you're curious, I got the big old bag of Sixlets from, oh my gosh, where was I? Party City is where I got those from. I was eyeing the giant bags of green and red for Christmas, and I was like, you can get the miscellaneous bag and have a whole variety of colors. So there's our little skeleton blowing a bubble. And then let's try to see if we can make this freaking bow work. Can you put chocolate on the bow and then prop it up somehow until the chocolate dries? Great question. I did try chocolate initially, but I didn't have something to prop it up with. Hold on, I want to try this really quick again to see if I can make this work. I think I just didn't get it on there quickly enough. Haha! Yay! There's our little skull. We're gonna let that set, which is gonna happen very, very quickly as we saw. Let's move on next to our, oh, let's see if our little skeleton hand wants to cooperate this time. It's looking good. I'm gonna very carefully kind of cut off this little excess piece right here. No! Darn you, Pinky. Okay. You know what? We're gonna make it work. I want to cover that in just a touch of gold. Just a little bit right there, just to cover that up. Okay. We're going to reattach the pinky when we actually get it onto our thing. So I want to do the chocolate cookie pop here. And we're going to do the same thing, lightly remelt. And immediately stick this on. Careful, careful, careful. Oh wait, it's starting to sit already. Darn you. Gotta work super quick when you remelt like this. And we want to keep the torch moving if you're using a torch like I am, because again, it could easily burn. Just set that there and very, very quickly reattach our pinky. Ha, okay. Got it. Okay, what I want to do for the white covered ones. Let's see, I'm gonna put my chocolate ones over here just so I'm so excited with this one. Let's see, what do I want to do? I have some more decorations here. Ooh, I also have this icing decoration. I got these from Amazon, so they're a little bit different. I also have some of their blood glaze, which usually only do candy melt, so it'll completely set, but I think this is gonna look kind of fun. So I have not used these little finger ones yet. I'm gonna do a small one of the thumbs, maybe. Thinking that's what they're. So that they'll fit on the cookie pop. Something a little bit smaller is what I'm thinking, not the really, really long ones. God, that feels weird because it's all like wrinkled like a hand. Let's see. Okay. I think I want to do, should I do the thumb or should I do one of these ones? A little bit thinner. Come here. Either that or I could do a thumb. And I kind of like how this one extends across the whole thing. I had to get ready for homecoming. See you later. They're so cute. Thank you so much. Have a great time at homecoming. Okay. So I'm thinking the finger, and then can add just a little touch of our blood glaze for a little extra touch here. So these ones we have to be especially careful with because these will for sure burn and show you like the color that's off if they burn from the torch. And I'm gonna let that set for just a second. We can also do, oh, we haven't done one of our little knives here. Oh, that went flying. These are very delicate, as you can see, so this one just broke, but I have a few more. A couple of them broke. I don't work with these icing decorations very often, but I think that the knife would be kind of fun, because even though the tip broke off of this one, I think that we're still going to add a little bit of, you know, blood goriness to it. So I think it's still going to work in our favor. Okay, set this one over here. And we're doing the same thing, just gently remelting. I think I want to do it on this one. And I'm thinking, you know, kind of angled like like Psycho. Okay, and we're gonna push down just a little bit too much on that one. We're gonna let these two set for a second before I add any kind of blood glaze or anything like that. For our last one, let's see. We have so many options here. I kind of want to do maybe like a little wreath or something. I'm kind of feeling some bats. I'm gonna get some bat sprinkles out. Got some bat sprinkles. I'm also gonna grab some basic Halloween sprinkles. Where did you go? I had a bunch of stuff over here a second ago. I want the Halloween nonpareils. Where did you disappear to? Found them. Okay, so we want our sprinkles ready to go. And I'm going to do, thinking that I want to do a little, I don't think I'm gonna pipe. Usually I would pipe like a little circle, but I'm just gonna add a little candy melt circle here on top with the chocolate on top of the white. Doesn't have to be perfect, can be kind of rough. Because as we said before, this is Halloween, does not need to be perfect by any means. Just doing a kind of rough circle shape here. Okay. I'm gonna add some of our nonpareils onto this part. If it goes on the white, it's fine. We can try and like pick it off with our tweezers, because we want to focus on having it on our little wreath here. Okay. We're gonna wait for the candy melts to set before we remove them from the white. But we are taking some little bat sprinkles that we have here. And if we need to, we can dip them in a little bit of candy melts. Our white melts are still a little tiny bit soft, but I can also take, got our chocolate, because that's what we used for our base, so it'd be actually preferable to use that. So we're gonna take our brush and then add a few little spots to our wreath, and we're gonna add our little bat sprinkle on top of that. I'm just gonna repeat that a few times. I think I can fit about 5 or 6 on here. And because I have a thing about symmetry, we're gonna do 6. Okay, and then 2 more dots, and we are almost done. Okay. And then 1 more on this side. And then got just a couple more right here. I know that today's live is going a little bit longer than usual, but thank you guys for hanging around and checking out the cookie pops today. I could not have Halloween go by without making some cookie pops. Those are one of the staples. Oh, hi, baby. Hi. You can't have a cookie pop. You're cute, though. Okay, and then these have already started to set, so we can just kind of knock them right off. We want them just to be on our wreath here. The ones in the center are still setting a little bit, so we're going to let that sit for another minute or so before we finish removing those ones. I don't want little ditches or anything like that. And let's finish these 2 up, and then we are done. So I have the edible blood red glaze here. Come on. Okay, so we're gonna add, hi, a little bit to our finger right here to add to the bloodiness. We can kind of like use the nozzle to kind of bring it down a little bit too to add to that little bloody goriness. And I'm going to leave that one pretty simple. That one's kind of straight to the point. This one I'm also going to add some glaze to as well all along the blade. Maybe just a little dot that goes down this way. Kind of up the blade a little bit too. Kind of make it look like it's going down a little bit. There we go. See, candy melts would not have the same effect. So let's look at all of our cookie pops that we made today. We have our fun little, it almost looks like a little monster with the two eyes like that. But that's a fun, super duper simple one. And then we have our ghost with the frame, so cute. Arguably my favorite of the day has to be this one. It's just so much fun, and I've wanted to try that, like I said, for a while now. And then of course we have our two gory ones here with the blood glaze. And then our skeleton hand, which gave us some trouble, but it looks really cool with the gold on top of the chocolate. And then our final one here, let's see if we can finish brushing these off. Yes, the candy melts feel like they're nice and set. So we can just kind of pop those off. Come on. Dip that out. And there is our cool little, pretty easy wreath, Halloween wreath that we did with the little bats. What do you guys think? We did 7 cookie pops today. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the chat or the comments later. Of course, this will be posted to my channel as it always is afterward. So thank you guys for coming on in. And I know, again, this is a longer live than usual, but we made some really cool cookie pops today and did a lot of kind of experimentation with some things that I've wanted to try for a while. So thank you for being here for that. I'm not seeing any other questions pop into the chat here. So this is it for today. I did post a new Halloween tie-dye cake tutorial last night. So one of our only Halloween tutorials for the year was posted last night. There's another one coming in another day or two. And for the kind of like a last minute no bake treat for Halloween. And then I can't even believe, like I said, it's Halloween on Tuesday. But of course we have more shorts coming up as well. And then next week our live will be probably themed around fall. So let me know if there's anything in particular that you'd love to see. In the meantime, like I said, let me know which one is your favorite. And of course, keep checking back for more fun stuff coming up. I will see you guys very soon. Thank you again for joining, and I hope you have an awesome weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye.